What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another day in Car Mechanic Simulator 2021 with me, the Virtual Mechanic. And yes, the Taxi DLC is out now. I've been waiting for it since just before Christmas. I don't know how long you guys have been waiting for it. I don't know when you all saw the announcement, but I'm excited by this. It's bringing us a collection of taxis from around the world. Obviously law friendly, so they're not real brands, so bear that in mind. Let's just get started with the classic black taxi, or the London cab as some people will call this one. This in the game is referred to as the Cab Aroma and is from 1993. Obviously I'm in my test DLC garage, I guess, which is about 10 miles down the road from the other one. Bear that in mind. So this is the Cab Aroma. It is obviously a taxi. There are two configurations. One is a standard version and one is the taxi version. And so far as I can tell, the only difference is the taxi version gets that part on top, which is not a bonus part. It is actually a part of each taxi. We'll come to them as we go across. The Cab Aroma's just got a little engine in there. If we just go into the settings, it is the i4 2-litre double overhead cam rear wheel drive engine. I can't remember which one it is, but we'll come to that when we come to do this build. It is quite a cool looking taxi. I wish the rear doors were suicide instead of front opening, but there we go. And it should realistically have a wall in here so the people in the back can't get round to the people in the front. That's all I'll say about it. Apart from that, it looks absolutely fantastic. I do love the look of these cabs or taxis. I do think they are pretty smart. That is one new addition. And next up, we've got, I'm going to open up the menu, is the Olsen Prami Club. The Mercedes looking thing. Absolutely fantastic. I believe a lot of Europe has these taxis, but predominantly Germany. It is a pretty cool. Obviously, it's got two configs again. A standard version, so you can just have the car or the one with the taxi rack on the top. We've gone for all taxi versions. The engines in this one, I say engines because this one's got swap options. It's currently got the i4 1.9 litre turbo diesel injected engine in there, but there's quite a few swap options if you want to swap it out and do something different with that one. Again, looking quite nice, quite decent interior in here. Just some of those things. We'll take a seat inside. The dashboard looks good, lots of wood accents, quite luxurious for a city cab or taxi as we call it. Now, this one doesn't have any liveries whatsoever. I think this one's got two, this one and one other one. This is a fixed colour on this version of the livery. The other livery, you can have anything you want, but it's got different logos. Next on, though, is our big classic retro, whatever you want to call it, American cab. This is the Liner Navigator. You can guess where that name come from. Again, two configs, one with the taxi, one without. And this one does also have two liveries, a red and white one, and this one, the yellow on this, I believe, is a fixed colour. This one's got the same livery, and the second livery on this one is the same, but this one has a third livery as well. We'll come to that in a moment. Let's jump inside this beast. I love the look of this. So much legroom in the back there. You could probably pit a reverse-facing bench and have it almost limo style. Maybe a little bit too small for that. Nice work on the interior again. Looking pretty good in here. Obviously, only two pedals. This is a manual. No, it's not. It's an automatic because it's only got two pedals. Stop being an idiot. But it's all looking pretty good in here. Again, I like the look of this taxi. But this one has got a V8 engine. And it does have some swap options. So you can swap out from the single carb overhead valve to the two carb supercharged, two carb overhead valve, and a few other options in there as well. We'll come to the prices when we do the individual episodes. I do like this taxi. Oh, that's the base colour I put underneath it. You don't get that on this because this is technically red underneath. So we'll gloss over that one. Yeah, this one that's the yellow that's actually on it, whereas this is the yellow from the livery. So I'll probably try and match that when it comes to it. On to the next one as we move over. This is the Bolt Escapade Mark IV. Again, two configs, one with the taxi, one without. It is as simple as that, as far as I can tell. We'll see a bit later on. Again, modern looking at New York City taxi. Very, very nice looking. I do like the design and style of this one. It does make me feel like I'm in New York. Jump inside. We've got a classic Bolt steering wheel in here and some funky grain on this wood design. I have seen this wood design before. I can't think of what it's called. It doesn't look like it's come out overly well. I just bashed my microphone. I hope you didn't hear that. It doesn't look like it's come out overly well in game, so we'll gloss over that one for the minute. Out we come of there. We did obviously open up this engine, and it is another V8 in there. This one is the V8 single overhead cam FME, but doesn't have any swap options, so that's just the engine you get in this one. This one has the same liveries as this one, plus one extra, and yeah, that's the yellow it's actually in, and this is a forced yellow on the livery. The other one is a red and white, and I can't think of what the other one is, but again, I'll show you when we come to it. Then we come to our little French boy. This is the Le Croix Marseille, or it's a Peugeot. But there's 3 configs for this one. You've got a standard version, a fast version, which is all of that you can see on this one without the taxi badge, and then this one here, which is the fast taxi, which has got all of these accessory parts as well as the taxi badge on there. That's why it's called the Taxi Fast. 3 configs for this one. Let's open up the engine. Open up the engine, open up the hood, bonnet, whatever you want to call it. And we've got a lovely little engine in there. And a nice little i4 2-litre double overhead cam turbo engine pumping out 180 horsepower. Now, this one here does have 2 liveries. You've got this one here, which forces the white. But if you're using the bonus parts, I don't think they've done a tuning livery, because this part here doesn't paint with it, and this part here doesn't paint with it. And if we just quickly jump into the body tuning shop, the Le Croix Marseille is the only one that has tuning parts. If we jump into there, just that front bumper and the trunk, which are the bits that aren't painting with the livery, which leads me to believe they didn't do a tuning version of said liveries. There is 2 liveries, I think, with this one. I can't remember what the other one is, but it looks pretty good. Now, oh, it's just a little badge on there, and you can have the car any colour you want, whereas this one forces the white, just not on the front bumper or the trunk. So yeah, just a little badge in there, and then you can have any colour you want on the whole body. I do like the look of this one. It looks fantastic. I'm hoping it's going to be pretty fast. We will be taking all of these around the racetrack. Now, coming up to our very last taxi, which is our Asian entry, as we say. We'll go in. This is the Sakura Tiara. Again, 2 configs, a taxi version and a non-taxi version. Looking quite nice. There are, I think, 5 or 6 liveries with this one. There's 4 that are very similar to this one. You got a 2 red bottom and white tops, then a blue bottom and a white top. I can't remember all the different colour variations, but again, we'll come to them when we build it. I do quite like the look of this one. It isn't the best looking one out of the bunch, but it's still quite good looking nonetheless. 5 seats. Well, I mean, yeah, of course there's 5 seats, but the driver doesn't count, right? Anyway, the engine in this one is a lovely i6. We open that one up, looking fantastic. And I don't think there are any swaps. No, it's just the i6 double overhead cam, pumping out 158 factory horsepower. So that is all of the brand new taxis. I tell you what, we didn't go sit inside this one. Steering wheel's on the other side because it's from Japan. In we go. This has got a really curved dash that looks absolutely fantastic. I just want to step back outside again. Look at that curvature on there. That looks well good. Anyway, this steering wheel seems to be an oddly funny colour. Can't quite put my finger on what that is, but we do have a taxi fare meter inside of the car. Again, all looking pretty good, and at least the wood grain effects look good in this one. Did we sit inside the little French car? I don't think we did. We got to step over the big wing to get on there. It looks like a Peugeot, I'll be honest. I mean, a French unknown brand. We'll gloss over that one. There we go. That is all of the brand new taxis. Obviously, all looking good in their glory with liveries on, colours on, and things like that. Obviously, this is not how we do things on this channel, but I just wanted to showcase what is new with the Taxi DLC. So there's a quick clip to show you everything new with the Taxi DLC. Now let's jump into today's episode, where we will be working on the Olsen Premier Club. Pi Newton wanted to see the Mercedes, so that's what we're going to do first. We're going to build this one up, get it restored, hopefully looking fantastic. We'll have a look at the 2 liveries. We'll probably stick with this one just because we're going to keep a livery on it, and I think I prefer this one to the other one. So there we go. We need to go back to the garage, where we do have a scrap, rubbish, terrible versions of all of these cars at our main garage. I said about 10 miles down the road there. So we're going to go back to there, check all of them ones out, and get on with restoring our first of the Taxi DLC. Slightly further down the road now, and we've got all the taxis we need to work on over the next 6 videos. We've definitely got our work cut out ahead of us. They're all looking a little bit sorry for itself. The Cab Roma, the Liner Navigator, the Tiara, can't remember what it's called, the Bolt Escapade, the Olsen Premier Club, and the Le Croix Marseille. all looking pretty sorry for themselves. We are going to be starting with the Olsen Premier Club. Pi Newton wanted to ride in this one when I joked about it on Discord, so this is the one that we're going to be building first. Let's talk some facts and figures about it. Let's look a little bit. We already spoke about the engine with the i4 1.9 litre TDI with a few swap options if you want to swap it out. I am just going to keep it with the TDI engine in there. We're going to keep all of these taxis as they come, relatively as they come, so that we can give them all a comparison around the racetrack and see which one of our 6 cabs is the fastest. That's what we're going to be working on over the next 6 episodes. The big question is, though, did we get a good deal for our Olsen Premier Club? We did. We bought it for 10,201 and I could already sell it for 10,673, making a small profit of 472. But we obviously don't want to do that one. We want to get this beautiful taxi back into the garage, onto the lifter, start tearing all of this beautiful car down, getting it all cleaned up and ready to go. While we're out here, though, there is a lot missing from that engine bay. I think we should just get this onto the lift and get started. Well, we're in the garage at the lifter, and we've obviously got our Olsen Premier Club here, and that engine is definitely missing a lot. So I think we're just going to go and buy a brand new one. We're even missing the starter. I am going to add that to my shopping list now so that we don't forget it, because I know we are going to need it later. Was there something else down there I needed? Oh, that's part of the engine. That's fine. That's part of the exhaust. We can come to that later. Obviously, we are also, if I could zoom out a little bit, there we go, missing everything in the engine bay, so we've got to get all that sorted. But all 4 wheels are on, so we are looking good as to having all the suspension complete, which I'm kind of hoping is the case for this one. But before we do that, we want to go and buy the engine. What are we on? The i4 1.9 litre TDI. Now, I've got a feeling that's going to be the wrong title. So it's got a little pokey tube up the top, a little pokey tube out the side, and a big old gearbox. Let's go in and have a look. Thanks to TK Basics, we can buy crate engines. If you haven't got this mod, it's in the link in the description below. It's available on Nexus. It's called TK Basics. So I'm going to press Z here, and you see we scroll through some options on there. You've got the normal shop, then you've got crate engines, tuned crate engines, and then engine tuning parts kits. I'm going to go to the tuned engines because that's what we're going to buy. And that looks like it, but these are TK Aftermarket ones, so I don't want that. We will be using some TK Aftermarket parts, but I don't want a full TK Aftermarket engine. So it looks like it's none of those. The i4 single overhead cam diesels, that's the only one that looks like it. Did say it was a TDI, but that's the only one that looks like it. So we're going to purchase that and hope it is the right one. Fingers crossed on that one. Let's just go put it on the stand and let's see what this looks like. It's listed as a TDI, but this does have the turbo. It is a TDI, fully tuned. There we go. That's all I wanted to see, was make sure the turbo was on the side there. Looking quite nice, actually. I don't know if we're going to do too much to the engines on these, because I normally tie my engines into the liveries, and these are all going to have pretty basic taxi liveries. So we might just keep all the chrome work on there, maybe change a few little bits. We will obviously paint some stuff and make it look cool, but predominantly I don't really know. They're just going to look standard. It's probably just going to be black chrome, and then whatever colour is on the body there, we may splash a little bit of that one on. We shall see a little bit later on, but there we go. We're obviously not keeping that engine. Oh, I've got to say, before we jump back in, congratulations to Speedy for the Italian Stallion competition. Round 66. That is 66 rounds of this competition we've been running. It is fantastic. Congratulations to Speedy with his 250 GTO dragster build, looking insane. It is a wild, fantastic, and I love it. And the new competition is now live on the official Red Dot Games Discord server. Link in the description below and on screen now. Take part in the new competition because we have 3 DLC codes to give away for the Taxi DLC. All the information you need is on the competition section of the Red Dot Games Discord server. So go and check that one out. We are all building taxis, and it is a law and DLC car, so base game and DLC only. No mods. 0 mods allowed. You are allowed to create your own config if you have access, obviously, to the car editor, but not allowed to put any mod parts on there. You can use anything from the base game or the DLC to make, or any DLC, should I say, base game or any DLC to make yourself an awesome looking taxi. We're going to have a top 3, and each of them top 3 will receive a DLC code for the Taxi DLC, which is out now. Obviously, the competition is going to run for another couple of weeks. It ends on I've forgotten the date. The information's on the Discord server. Go and check it out. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. But go and have some fun with that. Build a taxi, and you could be one of the lucky 3 to win a free copy of the Taxi DLC, which is out now. So if you've already got it, it's up to you whether you want to enter, because you might win a code and then maybe give it to one of your friends. I don't know. That is entirely up to you. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get back to this. Our beautiful Ulsan Premier Club feeling very sorry for itself. So let's get it into the car wash. Let's get it all cleaned up. But before we do that, I do think no, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna clean everything first. We're gonna clean it up, get the wheels stripped down. We'll come back and have a quick look at a few bits. But I'm probably just gonna start stripping it so we can come back, work on the bodywork for these beautiful cars, get it into the paint shop, check out some liveries, and decide what we're gonna do for the beautiful colours for our first of the Taxi DLC. She's all clean and ready for work. Still looking pretty good, but we want to get in underneath and check out all of this suspension, see what we've got going on. We do have all 4 wheels, so it is a good sign, but we are going to start by taking at least one of them off. Off you come with the first wheel. Out you go. Let's see what we've got. So we've got a double wishbone at the front here with the shock. We've got it all there. All looking pretty good. We can definitely upgrade to the bigger brake covers on there, or bigger brakes and bigger brake covers on there. Does it look like anything clips through the engine? It depends how big that oil pan is, but so far, so good. Looking pretty good. The other side, obviously, exactly the same, but it is all there. And I am just going to take this wheel off just to save myself a little bit of time going forward. Out we come there. Let's check out the drive shaft. Does this all line up? I did actually find a couple of these that weren't quite lined up properly, but I can't remember what they were. I can't get down the back. There we go. No, that one all looks good on there. So let's get the first rear wheel off and see what we've got going on underneath. We can already see it is a multi-armed suspension system on there. Looking pretty good, and it is all there. The sway bar end link, all the shock is there. The drive axle's there, all the bushings. So we do have a complete suspension, which is always good because it means I can repair quite a bit of this to put it back on without spending too much money. Round to the other side. Let's get you off of here. Is that brake clipping with that wheel? That is massively clipping with that wheel. So the wheel sizes might be slightly off. Let's just say that. Off with that wheel. And again, everything all looks there. We've got the bushings. We've got the shock. We've got the sway bar end link. We've got all the arms and all the bushings. So all the suspension is there. We've just got our work cut out with the engine bay. So I'm going to drop that one down. Obviously, we've got our new engine already on the stand, ready to go in. So I'm going to start stripping all of this off, buying everything we need to buy for this engine bay, getting all the suspension sorted, and then ready to drop that new engine in there once we sorted out all the bodywork and given it a new coat of paint. That's everything for the Ulsan Club, repaired, replaced, or upgraded, ready to go back in. Now we need to sort out this bodywork that's definitely seen better days. So we do have fenders, off you come. Lovely hood / bonnet on there, right and left tail lights, front bumper and license plate on there. I don't think we missed anything else. A Montenegro license plate, apparently. Out we come with that door there. We do obviously need car part 1, which is a taxi badge. This isn't on all of the configs. It's only on the taxi version of the config is expecting that part. We do have inner tail lights on there. We just obviously don't have them available at the moment. Off with the trunk, rear bumper. Obviously the tail lights are both already missing, and all of the doors were already missing all around this side. Let's get on though and take out the interior. Is this new stuff? Seat 1 fabric B? I don't know. I'm not sure. And the rear bench is the bench for the M8. So I definitely know that one isn't new. And what is this steering wheel? Steering wheel 14. I'm pretty confident that might not be new either. But we'll find out a bit later on to double check it. I will go into the body shop and have a look and see if anything looks new. But anyway, did we get everything stripped off? That's not the screen I want. That is the screen. Struggling today. That is the screen I want. Obviously, we don't want to change it from the taxi to the normal config. I do want to keep it as the taxi config. Just go into here and make sure nothing else showing up. So we have got everything. We do need to sort the frame out. Don't know what's going on. What do we reckon? 47% for the frame, and obviously we paid a little over 10,000 for it. I don't know if these are going to be a lot or not. Brand new. I'm going to go with a classic 1500. 800. I was quite far off, but never mind. Let's jump in though and take a look at the body shop. So you got your bodywork station and your body tuning station. Any cars that want front bumper B, for example, will be in the bodywork tuning state or the body tuning shop there. We don't have anything for the Ulsan Premier in here. The only DLC from the taxi is the La Croix Marseille that one does have some tuning parts, but we'll come to that in the episode. So for today, we just want to go into here in the Olsen Prammy Club. I don't even know if I'm saying that middle word correctly, Prammy. It seems weird, but that's what it says anyway. There we go. Everything as you would expect for a DLC car is a like for like. So nice and simple swaps that are going to be nice and easy. I'm going to go repair what I can repair, buy what we need to buy. We'll get this beautiful taxi back together and then into the paint shop to check out the liveries and decide what we're going to do. Let's get our beautiful little first taxi all back together then and into the paint shop ready to go. Fender on you go. One thing I do quite like about this actually is the headlights completely float because the front grille is connected to the bonnet and the underbit is connected to the fender on there. There you go. Just a weird bit of interestingness for me there. But anyway, I just like the way the front end's designed. That's all. Anyway, front bumper on you go. That's the front end complete apart from our blank license plate for the time being. On with the windshield, obviously, we've then got the doors on you go. Windows in there. And obviously a cheeky little side mirror just for good measure. And our taxi light sign, whatever you want to call it, on the roof there. Already looking pretty good. Round to the back, we'll start with the window. Then we've got a beautiful bumper. And this trunk piece, which I've never seen that badge. It looks quite interesting. But anyway, tail light on you go. Left and right tail lights on there. If I could press for long enough, that is. And then the internal left and right trunk tail lights on there. Along with our blank license plate. It does really look like a Mercedes. They've done a good job. I mean, yeah. Well, yeah. It doesn't look like a Mercedes at all. It's the Olsen Prammy Club. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, on with the rest of these parts. And that's all the bodywork sorted. Already looking better, apart from its mismatched doors and mirrors. And one fender. But let's get on and get the interior in. I did double check and no, none of this interior for this particular build is new. We'll check the others as we come to them. So it's got the M8 rear bench in there. It wants car part that seat 1 fabric B, and I'm going to keep that in there for the time being. I don't think I use these seats very often, so I might try and do something with the colours a little bit later. We shall see. Oh, almost forgot the steering wheel, and the steering wheel is obviously steering wheel 14. I've kept it all as it was because it's how it's meant to fit together, and that's how we want to see this, or how I want to show you this, as it were. But there we go. That's all the bodywork sorted. We will just double check. 100%, 100%, 100%. That's what we like to see. Let's get our first taxi into the paint shop, check out the liveries, and decide a colour. In the paint shop with our Mercedes taxi, looking a bit sorry for itself with its mismatched doors and so on and so forth. But let's have a look and we'll see what we've got. Plenty of colour options. I think this is what we are going to use because this is the sort of colour you do see most of these Mercedes taxis in. My opinion. But anyway, so we got a metallic silver, a gloss white, metallic and gloss blacks, which look very similar. One's probably slightly darker than the other. Then another off gloss white, gloss blue, metallic blue. That does look pretty good though. Then we've got the dark greys, both in gloss and metallic. Either one of them I suppose could work with it as well, but I want it to stand out a bit more. I don't know if we'll keep it in gloss. We'll see. Then we got a lovely metallic red, a gloss yellow, classic taxi. Oh, maybe no, we're not doing it. And then a gloss green at the end there. I do think this is the colour, but I'm not sure if I want to stick it in gloss. So let's just quickly go over. Solid I don't like. Metallic, a bit too goldy for me on that one. Pearl matte looks lovely, but not really suited for this style of car, in my opinion. Chrome too much. Chameleon definitely not. So it's gloss or pearl. Gloss. I'm going to go gloss just because I don't really go gloss that often. There we go. That's the colour decided, choice decided. Now, if we go across to the liveries, this is on 44, so I'll remember that. Slot number 1 is the one you saw on the taxi at the beginning. That is a fixed colour. You can't change it, as you can see, sliding across there. I do want to just go back to 44, though, so I don't lose this colour. Slot number 2, on the other hand, this is a plain text basically, and you can have it in whichever color you want. So if you want to swap those colors out, feel free to do so. Back down to 44 for you, because that's what I want to do. But I am going to throw a splash of yellow onto this beautiful taxi, and that's going to be on our bolts for our everything, including the rims. We're going to have yellow bolts in there. 45, 70, 100 is the color option I've gone for. We'll see how that turns out in a second. Let's get this beautiful taxi painted and hopefully looking fantastic. So I've used the second livery option with the first livery option color, basically, is what I've done there for our beautiful Olsen Premier club, taxi, whatever you want to call it. Let's jump in and just make sure those bolts went yellow by sticking our ABS pumper module on. And they have gone a colour yellow, and that's fine. So we'll take them off. We'll come out of that, and there we go. It might be boring. It might be plain. I'm going to make the engine look as cool as I can. Not using any of this body colour. I'm going to use black, yellow and chrome in the engine bay just to keep that splash of yellow. Probably won't be too many yellow bits because the bolts will be yellow, but we shall see by the time I come to finish this beautiful little taxi off. But we are going to be racing it around the track today, so it kind of needs to look a little bit performance ready to hit up the racetrack and give us a time so we can compare all 6 of these brand new taxis to each other and see which is the fastest taxi. I'm going to crack on and get everything painted. Then we'll get this faux Mercedes back on the lifter, ready for everything to go back together. Looking shiny and new for its wonderful dyno test. And then onto the racetrack. That's everything painted on the faux Mercedes, not looking too shabby. There's a few bits that have changed since you last saw it. Obviously, the suspension is a good start. But also, we got some Alcantara and body colour on the centre of the seats there. And I don't think it looks too out of place. It might not be perfect, but it sort of fits quite well in there. And if we open the rear door, it only opens slightly. We also managed to get that colour on the seat belts at the back there and on the base of the seat, just for something a little bit better. We have also tinted the windows. The fronts here are like 50% and the backs are obviously 100 for privacy for our clientele. We did also tint the rear lights a little bit just to take some of the red out of it as well. Just make it look a little bit more advanced, shall we say, better. But anyway, let's check out the suspension. I've gone for a finish I've never used, I can't recall ever using. This is chrome plated on a white base on all of the silver you can see under here, including the steering knuckle there. I think it looks quite nice with the white. It's sort of just about bright enough that it works, but still a little bit of a darker tone. I quite like how it's worked anyway. Then we got matte blacks on everything. You can see black in there and a little bit of yellow to keep up with our taxi theme. Looking quite nice. Down the back is almost the same principle, that chrome plated with a white base on there, sort of matte blacks dotted around and a bit of yellow just for good measure. Let's jump out though and check out the engine bay. As I open it up, we do have the battery cover there in a body coloured paint. It's the only bit of body coloured apart from the rest of the engine bay in there. A few bits not coloured at all, just left as they were, including the ABS module. The pump on the top is in a matte black. Did get matte black on all of our little casings. I even did the battery in matte black because the red on it looked very out of place without any red anywhere else. The front radiator is in a white chrome paint. Obviously not forced with the quality of life to keep the details at the front there. It looks all right. I wish it could have been a bit shinier, a bit more chrome-like, but it's one of those things. You can't get everything exactly the way you want it. Now we need to go and build that little diesel-powered engine, though. Turbo diesel, should I say, on the stand in a block unpainted, and then we got a few bits of chrome dotted around, bit of matte black on here as well, and a few splashes of the yellow from the engine bay and suspension. But let's crack on. We've got obviously our timing cover on the front here. These are all in matte black, and when it goes in the car, all of these bolts should go that yellow we just saw on the suspension underneath. The top on the engine cover, again matte black, but with a yellow on there as well, so the diesel lettering goes into a yellow, and I think that's come out quite nicely. Just something a little bit different, something a little bit out there. Intake manifold is in, it says yellow, but it's matte black, but I did use a yellow, or steel black should I say, but I did use a yellow on it as well, just to give it a little bit of two-tone here and there. For our exhaust manifold, we've gone full chrome on this one. And yes, the rest of the exhaust will be all full chrome. We'll be putting that one in just a little while. The throttle up here is in chrome and yellow, just to give it a little splash of something at the top end. And our turbocharger is also in chrome and yellow, but it's got the actual smallest piece of yellow on there you can ever see, as well as the fans. But it is what it is. On you go to there, and that is everything else we needed for our little engine. The glow plugs are in here, all painted, looking quite nice, just in a yellow, giving us something a little bit different. And also the tandem pump on the back there is in a steel black and yellow as well, just for good measure. I think that looks quite nice, sort of quite fitting to the build. We've got black and yellow for our taxi theme, and then obviously that beigey sort of colour on the outside of the car. It suits the car really well, which is something I'm disappointed by, but there we go. Let's get the engine dropped in, get this beautiful faux Sadies all finished off, ready to go outside in the sun. So in we go with that little turbo diesel, looking quite good. Get you finished off in there. That's looking beautiful. I do like that engine in that engine bay. The chrome's all popping out. Obviously, the black and yellow with all the bolts showing off. It does look very good. But let's get it up in the air. We got a few bits to finish. Obviously, gearbox, drive shaft, starter, all that exhaust. And we do have some lovely wheels to put on this car as well. If we nip over around here, we want to start with the gearbox, which is in a steel black and yellow. Not much went yellow on it. I did try my hardest. There's a few little bits down here, and obviously the bolts we've just done. And that's pretty much it. If we zoom out a little bit so I can get onto that drive shaft, this is the carbon fibre drive shaft in a chrome and yellow, obviously, fitting in with the rest of the build. I don't think I very rarely ever keep the natural carbon fibre on that part. It looks a little bit weird, in my opinion. On we go with the starter, just in a matte black on that one there. And for our front exhaust section, we've gone for chrome and yellow, just a little sheathing bits in the yellow, just for something a little bit different. On we go with the middle muffler, which is obviously our delete pipe and our rear muffler just there. And that is all of the exhaust done, including everything. Now we've just got to put the wheels on and get some liquids topped up. So let's get this Mercedes back down one level so we can get some beautiful wheels done. And let's look at the wheels I've picked for today as we go on. They're not the Rim Classic 02. I've gone for the Mercedes SLS-B rims from the Mercedes DLC. Now, for the front rims, which are these ones here, we've gone for an 18-inch rim with a 215 width and a 40 profile on there. And it's in black and chrome. Obviously, we kept the bolts yellow. And I think they look quite nice. They're sort of reverse from what they come standard, these B ones, because you've got the chrome on the inside, mostly black, with the Mercedes badge in a chrome as well. I think it looks quite good. Onto the rears, they're very similar but not quite the same. 18-inch rim but a 235 width, so a wider tyre at the back, still with a 40 profile on there as well. Looking nice. I do like these rims. I think they've turned out quite well. We'll have a look at the full car once we've got all the wheels on, to make sure I get these the right way round, otherwise it'll all go pear-shaped. On you go there, and then up to the front, last rim, obviously the one I was testing on, hence why it said the SLSB rim on there. On you go, and we'll get that finished off. We'll close the hood, and we'll pop you down onto the ground. I think they look quite good. Enough chrome popping out that they don't just blend in. You know, sometimes with black rims, they just blend in and you can't see anything. So I like the little splash of chrome on the inside of the tubbing there. Tubbing, that's not tubbing. On the inside of the rim there, just it makes it pop just that little bit more, along with the yellow bolts and brake calipers on it. But there we go. That is it all finished. Just double check there. All 100% finished. Looking absolutely fantastic. Let's get this beast outside in the sun. Our faux Sadies taxi ready to go. We'll get some decent plates on it, get it dyno runned, and then take it for a few laps around the racetrack to set a benchmark for the taxi DLC. That's our faux Sadies all finished. She does look pretty good. As much as I'm not a fan of this actual colour, again, it suits this build so well. This sort of style taxi, absolutely perfectly. There we go. Enough said about that. Let's get this beautiful faux Sadies finished off. And the last piece to go on is our finishing licence plates, which do say sort of faux Sadies or faux Seds. But you get the drift of where we're going with that one. Didn't quite have enough letters to fit it in perfectly. So there we go. Off with the rear. Let's get the new one on there. And then we can listen to that beautiful turbo diesel roar. Probably not going to roar. Might purr like a kitten instead. But let's jump inside and see what she sounds like. And get our first look properly of the interior in our beautiful Olsen, or faux Sadies as we've been calling it. Not sure how I feel about the door operation from the inside. It looks like it's missing something. I'm sure it's not. It just looks like it is. But anyway, the wood grain in here looks quite nice. I'm not a fan of the brown leather on the armrest there or the gear stick. It would have been cool if we could have got that in this sort of body colour, or even with a little bit of Alcantara on there as well. But there we go. Apart from that, it all looks pretty good in here. So let's get it started up and see what she sounds like. I cannot, because I haven't filled up any of the liquids. I will do that right now and be back in just a second. There we go. That's all the liquids topped up. Let's try that again. Fingers crossed. That's more like it. The diesel tick over. Classic. Love to hear it. Let's see if we get a little bit of turbo whistle at the top end from this diesel. You can just about hear that whistle popping out in the background behind that very gear-like grumble of this diesel engine. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but let's get it onto the dyno so we can get this little beast around the racetrack. Let's get this turbo diesel powered Mercedes taxied dynoed then. 105 factory horsepower from that TDI 1.9 litre engine. How much have we added today with our performance parts? 78. 78 horsepower, a gain of 74%, 3/4 of a new diesel engine slapped on top of that power-wise, so I don't think we're going to be breaking any records today. Bringing us up to a total horsepower of 183. I mean, it's a turbo diesel. It's not too bad, let's be honest. Drag rating at the lower end of D140. Not that we're drag racing, so that figure is kind of irrelevant. It's just a good base mark to see what benchmark, should I say, to see what other cars will come up against. We'll have to compare that to the other taxis when we get them done in the coming episodes. But enough of that. Let's have a look at the gearbox tune I've gone for today. There she is, a 3.17 ratio, 45k in first gear from that diesel, up to a reported 226 kilometers an hour in fifth gear. I'm not sure if we'll quite make it up to there around the racetrack, but we will find out in a moment. We got a fully tuned stage 3 ECU, giving us 16% additional tuning. And if you want to learn how to easily do that every time without fail, there is a video up in the top right hand corner up here. It's a short video, less than 60 seconds. It's also linked in the description below. Easy ECU tuning short. Or in the description, there's also one for the carburetors, but we don't have any carburetors on this car, so we won't mention that one at the moment. But go and check both of them out if you are struggling to do either the ECU or the carburetor tuning. A nice little guide to get it perfect every time. Enough about that. That's the gearbox tune. Let's get this Olsen Prami Club Taxi, or the Mercedes, onto the racetrack and see what sort of times we can set around the racetrack. We're back on the racetrack, this time with our beautiful Mercedes or Olsen Prami Club Taxi to set the benchmark for all the other taxis. Now, this is the only one, I believe, with a diesel engine, and it is the turbo diesel. So we're going to get on, we're going to do a standing lap and a flying lap. The time that's important is that flying lap. So you're going to see all of the flying lap, regardless of what's happened, and some of the standing lap, depending if it's amusing or not. But anyway, let's get this started. Come on, you beautiful little Mercedes. Let's conquer this racetrack. Off we go, off the line, heading up towards the first corner at a whopping, what is that, 95 kilometers an hour? Oh, 100 on the way out, so not too shabby. I should really watch the road rather than the speed. So there we go. Let's carry on around our little S section at the beginning here and see where, oh, that was a bit dubious, and see what we can get on the home straight. It's not even the home straight, the first straight. Can we get up to, what are we at, 150, 160, maybe 170 before the big banked turn? 65, I think 60. Oh, they're going to brake a little bit there just so we can make sure we get into this first corner. That was nice. I feel like this car's quite smooth, and if I was paying more attention, we'd get much better lap times instead of trying to talk. You know what I'm saying? But this is what we do. We make videos, so we're going to talk as we go around. I think we're going to need to shave a little bit of speed, maybe drop it down a gear or two here. I didn't shave enough speed. We managed it nonetheless, although coming out a bit on the low side, so down into third, just to give us a bit extra power. Not the best for our standing run so far, but it is the flying one that counts. Pulling around, he's failing miserably as we come up to the final corner. Fully flat through there as well. Nicely done. And across the start-finish line in a 151. Should be able to keep it flat through this first section, I believe, as long as the taxi doesn't squirm on me. Let's keep it going. Can we keep it flat? Oh, almost. That is flat still, and we are flat all the way through that first section. I mean, granted, it's only at around 150 kilometers an hour, but still, keeping it flat through there is maintaining the speed. So that should give us perfect run for this flying lap. Come on, you little beauty. First corner, I do think we are going to shave a little bit of speed here just to make sure we can get around this corner without any incidents whatsoever. I want to get the fastest time possible which means we want to be as smooth as we possibly can, which is quite difficult with a controller, or I'd rather a steering wheel, but there we go. Round we go, pretty smooth so far, not too shabby, coming up towards the right-hander at around 170, 180 kilometers an hour. Shave a bit of speed, gear down, maybe a little bit more speed, pulling the car around. Can we keep it in fourth without having dropped down into third? Yes, we can. That should do us a little bit better than the first lap. Let's get going. We've got to beat that 151. It shouldn't be too hard. Maybe a 145 would be nice. Anything under that I'll be very, very happy with. Not so smooth around this corner here, but we made it round without any major incidents. So let's keep pushing. I believe there just goes the record on the racetrack lap time board. Not that we're trying to beat that. We want to compare all the taxis in these upcoming races. Shave a bit of speed, gear down. Oh, messed up the corner because I geared down whilst turning. My own fault. Coming up to the final corner. Full power all the way around. What are we going to cross the line at? It looks like it's going to be under 145. 141.811. Not too shabby from our diesel Mercedes. I'm happy with that one. Let's get that time jotted down and let's get the beautiful Mercedes back to the garage and decide which car we're going to do next. The Olsen Prami Club are doing a flying lap of 141.811. We don't know how it's going to compare to the rest of the taxis until we get them all around the racetrack, and they'll be coming in the following 5 episodes. So we've got 5 more taxis to do for the rest of this DLC, but let's talk some facts and figures about the Olsen Prami Club, or our Mercedes, as we've been calling it. We bought the car at the beginning for 10,201 and could have sold it at a profit of 472. But we didn't do that. We spent a further 24,245 upgrading, customizing the suspension and the engine bay, getting it all performance ready for the racetrack. For the engine and the liquids, including the gearbox and the starters, was 13,823. The beautiful bodywork, the lovely interior, and getting that frame all sorted was 5,230. And the wheels and tyres were 11,372. Our private custom Mercedes plates, or Mercedes plates, were 1,700. And for the entire paint, finishing, window tinting, and all of that was 16,700, putting the total for this beautiful Olsen Prami Club Mercedes at 83,271. Not too shabby, but that flying lap time, 1 minute 41.811 seconds. Not too shabby. Let's get off the B-roll and see if we could make some profit from the beautiful Olsen Prami Club. There she is, looking absolutely fantastic. And I do love that diesel engine in there. I think it looks pretty cool, especially with the yellow diesel badging, carrying on with the rest of the yellow theme we've got going in there to represent our little piece of taxi on this one specific build. I think it looks pretty good. What do you guys think? Do let me know in the comments below. And we aren't going to be selling this Mercedes, or sorry, Mercedes, or any of the taxis. We're going to keep them all lined up and get them all done one by one, eventually ending up with all 6 fully built taxis out the front there. And then we'll probably sell them when it comes to that, because we don't really need a taxi fleet, let's be honest. Let's go and jump into the lineup and see what we've got coming up next. I don't know which one to do, so I think probably for the next one we're going to go for one of the American ones. I'm going to save the classic one for a little bit. I think we're going to go for the Bolt Escapade Mark IV for our next taxi. That's what we're going to do in the next episode. We're going to compare the times to the beautiful Olsen Prami Club. But one more thing we've got left to do on this Olsen Prami Club, how many times can you say that in one sentence, is find out if we were to sell it right now, would we make a profit? 83,271 is what we paid. She's all 100% finished with her D-Class drag rating that isn't blowing anybody's mind, let's be honest. TDI diesel engine for 183 horsepower after all of our tuning, up from 105. Not the best, but it was a low-powered diesel, so we'll call it a victory nonetheless. But 83,271 is what we spent. Is there some profit in this? There is, with the sale of 116,530. That would leave us with a profit of 33,200. 259. Again, not selling it. We are saving all of the taxis so we can get them all in one go. I've really enjoyed this. What do you think so far of the taxi DLC? Let me know in the comments. Have you grabbed this one yourself? Will you be grabbing it yourself? Has my video inspired you to do so? I certainly hope so. I've enjoyed the taxi DLC so far. We've still got 5 more to go. So let's crack on with it. So do join us back here on Thursday where we'll be continuing the Taxi DLC with the Bolt Escapade Mark IV, the modern New York style taxi, or the modern-ish New York style taxi, I guess you could say. That's what we're going to be working on next. Please do come back and join us. And if you really want to support me, make sure to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and share this video with someone you think might enjoy it. And if you really want to go that little bit extra, you can become a member of the VM Garage Club and get access to my custom configs and liveries I create. Just the Ferrari that you can see down there at the moment. And if you haven't given that one a score out of 10 yet, go and check out the video and give it a score out of 10. It'll be on screen in just a moment. Apart from that, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to my channel members. I appreciate every single one of you for your £2.99 a month. I really do appreciate it. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, whatever it is you're getting up to. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Like and subscribe for Virtual Mechanic.